Okay, so today we're going deep on something pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Um, kind of disturbing, honestly. It's
It's
about using minors in these international conflicts.
right.
Specifically, these recent attacks on Israeli and Jewish institutions across Europe.
Yeah.
Like that case with the 15-year-old caught with a loaded gun right outside the Israeli embassy in Stockholm.
Yeah, that one was scary.
That really sent shivers down my spine.
Mine too.
So let's try to untangle this whole thing, figure
Okay.
out like what's fueling this trend and what it means for global security.
Yeah, great.
Now, look, this is going to get a little dark,
Yeah.
but honestly, I think it's super important to understand these issues even when they're tough.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So let's just dive right in.
Okay.
So let's start with these actual incidents.
Okay.
I mean, a 15-year-old with a loaded gun,
Yeah.
that's terrifying.
It is.
Then you've got these explosives hidden in thermos flasks.
Oh, yeah. I read about that.
A 13-year-old opening fire on an Israeli defense company in Gothenburg. I mean, come on, this is insane.
It's really disturbing.
And the planning, the
Okay.
coordination,
Absolutely.
just sends chills down your spine.
Right, and that's exactly what makes this look like proxy warfare.
Oh, proxy warfare.
Wow.
So explain that a little.
Yeah, so basically it's using third parties to carry out attacks.
Okay.
That way the country behind it, in this case maybe Iran,
Right.
they can kind of stay in the shadows.
They've got plausible deniability.
Exactly. It's a way to flex their muscles,
Yeah.
inflict damage,
Uh-huh.
but without the risk of direct retaliation.
So like they're pulling the strings, but from a safe distance.
Exactly.
And it seems like it's not just handing a kid a gun and saying, go do this.
Right.
Like you said, it's planned out, it's coordinated.
Yeah, this level of sophistication,
Yeah.
it's pretty frightening, especially when you think about the ages of these kids.
Right.
And then you add in the rising tensions between Iran and Israel.
Right.
Well, it really makes you think,
Yeah.
is Iran using these kids to target Israeli interests in Europe?
It's a chilling thought.
It is.
But our source specifically points the finger
Yeah.
at Iran.
Right.
They talk about how Iran is using these organized crime networks.
Yeah, like Hezbollah.
Yeah, exactly. They've
Yeah.
got these deep roots in Europe.
Uh-huh, they're already established.
It's like this ready-made network just waiting to be activated.
Exactly, and that makes it so hard to trace.
Like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Right, and strategically it's effective.
Uh-huh.
I mean, think about it, it creates chaos, instability.
And fear.
Absolutely.
But I gotta be honest, the thing that really gets to me is the human cost.
Right.
These are kids being manipulated,
Yeah.
coerced.
Vulnerable.
What happens to them long term?
Well, it's devastating. I mean, the psychological trauma,
Right.
the legal ramifications they could face for years.
Yeah.
Not to mention the risk of getting hurt or even killed.
It's like a form of child soldiering,
It is.
exploiting young people for political gain.
Absolutely. A horrific thought.
So how are European countries dealing with this? I mean, the source mentions Norway raising their terror alert level.
Yeah.
And both Sweden and Norway are issuing warnings about Iranian activity.
They're definitely taking it seriously.
But how do you even begin to fight something like this?
Yeah, it's tough.
You've got to protect your citizens,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't just trample on people's rights.
Right. You have to balance security with civil liberties.
It's a tightrope walk.
Exactly.
It seems like international cooperation is key here.
Oh, absolutely.
Sharing intelligence,
Yeah.
coordinating law enforcement across borders,
Right.
maybe even using diplomacy to pressure these state sponsors.
All that needs to happen.
And then there's that incident in Copenhagen
Oh, right.
where the suspect from that Stockholm embassy shooting,
Mm-hmm.
he flees to Copenhagen.
Yeah.
And then there are these explosions near the Israeli mission there.
Right.
It's possible he's connected.
It really shows how these networks operate across borders. Like,
Yeah.
national boundaries become meaningless.
So what's the answer?
Well, that's the tough question.
Right.
I mean, a coordinated response is crucial.
Yeah.
One that transcends national borders.
Okay, so to sum up, we're seeing this really disturbing rise in proxy warfare using minors.
Right.
And it looks like Iran might be behind it,
Possibly.
which is a huge threat to European security.
Absolutely.
Not to mention the ethical nightmare.
Of course.
It makes you wonder what happens if this becomes the norm.
Yeah.
Like, what if this tactic spreads?
Right. What can we even do to stop it?
Yeah, I mean, both as individuals and as a global community.
How do we protect these kids from being exploited?
It's a lot to think about.
It is.
It's a complex problem with no easy answers.
No easy answers at all.
But I think understanding how it works, the motivations,
The consequences.
yeah, all of that is the first step towards finding solutions.
It is, and that's why we do this.
It's definitely food for thought.
Absolutely keep those questions in mind.
And that's a wrap for today's deep dive.
Until next time.